How did the global world emerge? In December 2019, a deadly virus was discovered in China's Wuhan city. It was the beginning of a global pandemic. In a matter of months, the virus had spread to the remotest parts of the world. But what was so new about it? Haven't diseases always spread from one part of the world to another? Well, they did, but not so rapidly. Because the world was not always connected like this. So how did this global world come to be? In ancient times, people traveled to seek knowledge, opportunity, and escape persecution. These travels resulted in the blending of new ideas and cultures. Perhaps noodles, which originated in China, traveled west and then became spaghetti. By 16th century, European sailors had arrived on the coasts of India and Americas. Thus began a new era of conquests and trade. The Europeans also carried with them a bunch of germs, which eventually killed thousands of Native Americans. The making of the global world owed a lot to the increased movement of labor and capital. With the growth in economy came the growth in technology. Railways, steamships and telegraphs supported by colonization. However, it also wrought havoc on the colonized countries. Thousands of Indian and Chinese laborers were sent to work in plantations, mines, rail and road constructions across the world in inhuman conditions. Then came the two world wars. During the First World War, as men fought on the front lines, women worked to produce war-related goods. Britain borrowed large sums from the US banks. And the US transformed itself from being an international debtor to an international creditor. Its international presence became stronger than ever. But this was just the calm before the storm. In 1929, the worst economic downturn in the history of the industrialized world took place. During this Great Depression, about 110,000 companies closed shop. By 1933, over 4,000 banks had shut down in the US. Although by 1935, economic recovery had begun in many industrial countries, the Great Depression had left a lasting impact worldwide. 2 decades later, disaster struck again, another world war. This time, the devastation was even worse. After the war, the USA and the Soviet Union emerged as two superpowers. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank were set up at the Bretton Woods Conference in July 1944 to help the industrialized nations. Between 1945 and 1960, many Asian and African states were freed from colonial rule. But colonization had taken a heavy toll on their resources. So, they formed the Group of 77 to lobby for a new international economic order. Around the mid-1970s, many multinational corporations shifted operations to Asian countries, paying lower salaries. China, which had stayed aloof for a long time, now started emerging as the new manufacturing hub of the world. And today, the world is connected like never before.